Welcome to HP Fanfiction. Support me by subscribing the channel. Also, like and share the video to keep me motivated to make more videos like these. In the beginning, the professor and henchgirl shared a nervous glance as they prepared to knock on their friend's door. Harry had seemed different since the death of England's Dark Lord, only a short time before. Taking one last deep breath, henchgirl raised her hand and knocked on the door. "Come in," Harry called through the door. "Hello, Harry," henchgirl said with a smile. "How are you?" "Doing all right," said Harry. "So what are your plans now?" the professor asked slowly. "Harry Potter is dead," Harry replied. "I'm Mr. Black now. The world needs Mr. Black and I don't think I could stop." "Are you sure?" henchgirl asked with a frown. "It might be best to be Harry Potter too." "It would if Harry Potter wasn't so bloody famous," Harry remarked with a laugh. "Harry Potter is too visible to keep as an identity." "Still," the professor began, "it might be useful to maintain. It doesn't take all that much work." "Yeah," henchgirl agreed. "What he said." "Fine," Harry said flatly. "But to get back to the subject, the world needs Mr. Black. I'm going to become Mr. Black." "And how are you planning to do that?" the professor asked oddly. "I'm going to drift around and see what comes up," Harry said with a shrug. "Take a few classes here, accidentally kill a group of dark mages there, you know how it is." "Yes, well," the professor shared a worried look with henchgirl. "Well, why don't we tell you why you think you should stay Harry Potter?" henchgirl finished. "Please," Harry agreed. "I know you don't like the fact that you're famous for something you don't remember as Harry Potter," henchgirl said. "Oh?" Harry asked. "And how do you know that?" "Germany again," the professor explained. "As I said before, you got quite chatty." "Okay," Harry said. "Why don't you make the Potter name famous for something you did do?" henchgirl suggested. "It'd be good to have the Potter name remembered for something that didn't involve Dark Lords." "And how do you suggest I do this without being mobbed by the press and fans?" Harry gave in. "Because they won't know it's the same Harry Potter until after you've done it," henchgirl continued. We were thinking that Harry Potter could be one of the archaeologists to survey Atlantis. You mentioned that you might like to become the first magical archaeologist." "I suppose that could be interesting," Harry agreed. "There are magical distance learning schools in Australia and Canada," the professor explained. "We were thinking that Harry Potter could get his papers from one of those and then take university classes to become an archaeologist." "Why not just go straight to the university?" Harry asked. "We could easily forge any necessary documents," henchgirl agreed. "But why bother if we can get genuine documents without much trouble?" "I'll buy that," Harry spoke slowly. "And I did like Australia. On the other hand, I never got a chance to go to Canada. We found a degree program in underwater archaeology in an American university," the professor said quickly. "At Texas A&M it is supposed to be one of the best in the world. If you were to study hard and test out of some of the classes you could get a degree in just a couple of years," henchgirl added. "You could be Mr. Black by day and the archaeologist by night. Harry Potter could be remembered for the important discoveries made in Atlantis, and for being the first wizard archaeologist." "Sounds like a plan," Harry said with a grin. "How long have you two been planning this?" "Since we realized that you didn't plan to go back to Hogwarts," henchgirl replied. "I thought you didn't want me going back to Hogwarts?" Harry asked with a raised eyebrow. "I didn't," henchgirl agreed. "I still think you would have been better off staying with us." "So what's the problem?" "You're trying to burn bridges," henchgirl explained. "You think that because you're Mr. Black then, you can't be Harry Potter, and I think that's a mistake." "So you're doing this for my own good?" Harry asked with a grin. "I get a lot of that. I just want you to be happy," henchgirl said sadly. "You haven't come out of your cabin very much since you got here, and I want my friend back." "Oh, is that what this is about?" Harry asked, with a grin. "That I haven't been coming out of my cabin?" "Yes," henchgirl replied. "Sorry about that," Harry said sheepishly. "I've been working on something, didn't mean to be so antisocial." "What have you been working on?" henchgirl demanded. "Why don't I just step out then?" the professor suggested. "Since there's no more problem, that means I can get back to my experiments, right?" Yes, good," said henchgirl absently. "Cooking classes?" Harry replied to henchgirl's question. "I'm getting ready to teach a couple cooking classes on the island," So you've been studying recipes to prepare yourself, Henchgirl said in sudden realization. Can I help? Sure, Harry agreed. I was thinking of starting off simple, maybe something from that book we picked up in Atlantis. Sounds good, Henchgirl agreed. Harry Potter the Boy Who Never Was, by Luna Lovegood. As you are no doubt aware, Harry Potter has disappeared. Or has he? What follows is a hypothesis, an idea that fits most of the facts available to the quibbler. What it is not is the truth. We may never know what happened and forever be condemned to guesses and pet theories. It is our belief that Harry Potter either died with his parents or was rescued by Mr. Black. We suspect that Mr. Black either took the boy's place, or assigned one of his agents to take the boy's place. How else would you explain the fact that as a schoolboy, Harry Potter defeated Voldemort and his Death Eaters in several duels? How else would you explain how a second year managed to defeat the King of all Serpents? It boggles the mind that a young boy could not only survive but triumph. Available evidence suggests that Mr. Black assigned one of his agents to assume the role of Harry Potter, and we believe that Mr. Black was only present at the fight for the Philosopher's Stone, and at the death of the Basilisk. The reasons for Mr. Black's reappearance are unclear. It is our belief that something happened to anger Mr. Black and cause him to take a personal interest in the wizarding world, and unfortunately we have no idea what could have triggered Mr. Black's rage. On the other hand, it is also possible that Mr. Black really is just a guy on vacation, death taking a holiday so to speak. And so he came to Hogwarts and so we bid farewell to young Harry Potter. May he find what he's been looking for. How could you have written something like that, Luna? Hermione threw the paper at the smaller girl, saying that Harry never existed. It's what he would have wanted. Luna gave a dazed blink. He never wanted fame. I tried to distract the public away from him so that he can have a bit of peace. Maybe now that things are quiet he'll come back to us. Oh Luna. Tears began to flow down Hermione's cheeks. Harry is my friend, Luna said sadly. He was nice to me. I miss him. We all miss him, Luna, Hermione assured the younger girl. What are we gonna do, Hermione? Luna asked with unusual focus. We're going to find Harry and bring him back, Hermione replied. He's just being stupid right now. Harry does that sometimes. When we find him, the git'll probably say that he left to protect us or some other nonsense like that. You have to remember that for all his virtues, Harry is still a boy and he sometimes lets that get in the way of his good sense. Okay, Luna agreed. We shall find Harry and we shall drag him back to Hogwarts. That's the spirit, Hermione agreed. I'm going to go talk to a few people to get some clues. That sounds like a wonderful course of action, Luna said with a glazed look. I think I shall do something similar. We'll meet in the library in an hour, Hermione said, to share our information and to plan our next move. Till then, said Luna as she skipped off. For a brief moment, Hermione almost regretted agreeing to allow Luna to accompany her on her journey. Then logic crushed her one protest. Evidence suggested that Harry Potter was with Mr. Black. The quibbler had broken most of the stories about Mr. Black and still seemed to have most of the information concerning Mr. Black. Therefore Luna's presence could prove essential to the success of the mission. Hermione immediately walked towards the nearest connected fireplace after the meeting. Taking a handful of Floo powder, she tossed it into the fireplace and called out her destination. The Department of Magical Law Enforcement. Yes? A head appeared in the fireplace. How may I help you? I need to speak to Aura Tonks, Hermione replied firmly. One moment please. The head disappeared and was replaced a few minutes later by everyone's favorite Aurora. Hey Hermione, Tonks replied with a grin. How's tricks? Not good, Hermione replied. I need all the information you can get on Mr. Black. Why do you need that? Tonks asked wearily, doing a report for defense. I'm gonna go find Harry, Hermione replied. And I think he's with Mr. Black. Good thought, Tonks agreed. It's a starting point anyway. So will you help me? Hermione asked. I'll see what I can dig up, Tonks allowed. And with the death of Voldemort I've got a lot of vacation time coming. Need someone to come along. Would you? Hermione asked quickly. I would, Tonks agreed with a smile. Remus would never forgive me if I didn't. I'm sure that if we work together the two of us will find Harry in no time. 3. Hermione corrected. I think Luna's going to come too. Good choice, Tonks agreed. Her family has a lot of information on Mr. Black and a lot of contacts that could be useful. And do you mind making it an even 4? 4? Hermione asked. Remus, Tonks said with a worried look. He's planning to search for Harry himself. He'll kill himself doing it if I'm not there to remind him to eat and sleep. Of course Remus can come, Hermione agreed quickly. Thank you, Hermione, Tonks said with a relieved smile. Thank you, Tonks, Hermione blurted out. For everything. Happy to help, Tonks replied with a grin. I'm gonna go see what I can dig up. I'll see you later. Bye, Hermione said as the flue faded. Raising from the fireplace, Hermione turned and walked to her next destination. Taking a deep breath to steady her nerves, Hermione raised her hand and knocked on McGonagall's office door. Yes? The old woman answered the door. What can I do for you, Hermione? I want to take my exams early, Hermione said in a rush. To go off looking for Mr. Potter, no doubt, McGonagall replied. I shall make the necessary arrangements, and I shall also talk to my contacts in the teaching community. I believe that we will have a good chance of locating him if Mr. Potter chose to continue his education. Thank you, Professor, Hermione said quickly. Is the least I could do, McGonagall replied. And Hermione, yes, Professor? Hermione asked. Bring him home, McGonagall finished, her voice filled with emotion. I will, Professor, the girl promised. Then be about your business, Miss Granger, the old professor commanded. The sooner you begin, the sooner you bring him home. Yes, Professor, Hermione agreed quickly. Hermione left the professor's office and went off in search of her other best friend. She found him sitting in the Gryffindor stands, staring at the pitch. Hey, Ron. Hermione took a seat beside her friend. Hey, Hermione, Ron replied absently. Remember when Harry caught the snitch with his mouth? Harry always won. If there was any chance for victory, then Harry found it and he always won. Yes, he did, Ron, Hermione agreed, ignoring the few times that Harry hadn't managed to catch the snitch. I'm thinking of being an Auror, Ron announced without warning. The Department of Magical Law Enforcement has openings for all of us that were in the DA, and it'll help you look for Harry, Hermione added sadly. And it'll help me look for Harry, Ron slumped. Where do you think he is? I don't know, she shook her head. But I'm gonna go look for him. What about school? Ron gave a cheerless grin. I wouldn't expect you of all people to drop out. Taking my exams early, Hermione replied. My marks aren't as good as they would have been if I'd have had more time to study. But I'm sure they're better than most, Ron sighed. Do you want me to come with you? No, Hermione wiped a tear off her cheek. I don't know how long it will take, and I'm sure a trained Auror would be a big help. Do you really think it'll take that long? Ron was afraid to hear the answer, afraid to hear aloud what had been going through his mind in the deepest parts of the night. I don't know, Hermione blinked away a few more tears. Tonks and Luna said that they would help me look. Ron hated himself for even suggesting it. Do you think he's still alive? I know he is, Hermione nodded. Mr. Black would have told us if he was dead. Harry's just being stupidly noble right now, and he needs us to smack some sense into him. He doesn't know where Harry is. He said he didn't know where Harry is. Ron angrily wiped the tears off his own face. How could he know if he was still alive? Their letters arrived at the same time, Hermione replied. So Mr. Black must have found him. That's right, Ron said with a grin. Thanks, Hermione. Be sure to study hard while I'm gone, said Hermione. I won't be around to push you. I will, Ron agreed. I need to anyway if I'm going to be an Auror. Mr. Black only got me a spot at the school. I have to earn my graduation. I don't know, see you soon. As she walked up Diagon Alley, Luna forced herself to concentrate on the task at hand. Throwing open the door to a familiar travel shop, she marched to the counter and glared at the shopkeeper. Where's Harry? Luna demanded. What makes you think I'd know? The shopkeeper asked with a grin. Your family wasn't the only one cursed by the gods. Luna growled. I may not be able to see the future, but I can see enough. Yes, I'm well aware of that. The Lovegoods cursed to see the unseen and to drift in and out of other worlds. Small wonder you take your names from the moon. The shopkeeper agreed, and I'm also aware of young Mr. Potter's curse. What curse? Luna asked in shock. Luck from his mother's side, I think. The shopkeeper said slowly. Neither good nor bad. Luck, Luna repeated, favored or perhaps a dissident of both the goddess Take and her friend Nemesis. The shopkeeper answered. The first sets up a situation to be resolved by the second. It's in the eyes, not many have that shade. You still haven't answered my question, Luna growled. Where is Harry? Lost and maybe gone forever, the shopkeeper replied sadly. He has removed himself from my weave, and I cannot say if he will return. Who can find him? Luna whispered. Mr. Black is the only one I know that can find young Mr. Potter. Not even I can say if he will succeed or even try, said slowly. Where is Mr. Black? Luna asked in frustration. Mr. Black is the fear that lurks within all evildoers and the hope in the hearts of the good and innocent. Mr. Black is everywhere and nowhere, the shopkeeper replied. Stop talking in riddles, Luna screamed. Tell me where he is. Odd that a Lovegood would demand that someone stop talking in riddles, the shopkeeper said with a grin. Especially in light of your family mottos si vos can't quecus lema per siamtia, bafflem per boys excrement. Get to the point, Luna sighed. Why do you seek young Mr. Potter? The shopkeeper asked, with sudden seriousness. Because he's my friend, because he was nice to me, Luna replied. I see though Mr. Black is the only one I know that can find Mr. Potter, and due the fact that my pattern has been damaged, I have a hard time seeing the threads of possibility presented by Mr. Black. Mr. Potter has removed himself from the weave, and has lost himself. The shopkeeper paused to think. Mr. Black can find Mr. Potter, but it is not likely that he will look without being prompted. The moon, Athena's favored, and the one without form may prompt him without fear. What does that last part mean? Luna asked quickly. And don't get cute or I'll start drawing comparisons to you and that fraud at my school. You are the moon. Your friend Hermione is the favored of Athena, and the one without form is that aura from the Black family. The shopkeeper explained. I was just trying to inject a little drama. In the future, don't, Luna replied. What did the rest of it mean? I can't tell you without betraying a confidence, the shopkeeper replied with a frown. It would be best for all if you were to figure it out for yourself. Fine, Luna spat. Don't forget to come here to stock up on travel supplies before you start looking, the shopkeeper called out as Luna stormed out of his store. I'll even give you and your friends a discount. Minerva was just getting back to her work when she was disturbed by another knock on the door. Enter. It's just me, Minerva, the headmaster announced as he entered.
What can I do for you, Albus?
Minerva asked, doing her best to hide her alarm. In all the years she'd taught at Hogwarts, Albus had only come to her office on 2 other occasions. Neither of them good. I have been spending the past few days re-examining my actions towards young Mr. Potter, Albus began, and I have come to some rather disturbing conclusions. I would like to go searching for young Mr. Potter, so that I may assure myself of his safety and offer him my apology. I see, Minerva replied slowly. Would you like me to watch the school while you're gone? If you would, Dumbledore agreed. I would also like you to prepare to take my office should the search go longer than 1 year. It would not be fair to give you the responsibility without the position. I hope it doesn't come to that, Minerva said with a sad smile. I had hoped to have a few years before I found myself in your office. As had I, Dumbledore replied. I would like you to keep in contact, Albus, Minerva said sternly. None of your usual habit of cutting yourself off and thinking that you must do it all alone. Of course, Dumbledore agreed. I am aware of a few other groups planning to search for young Mr. Potter, Minerva continued. If you would like, I would be happy to serve as the information coordinator. With so many people looking, it only makes sense. Thank you, Minerva, Albus said with a sad smile. I really appreciate what you're doing. Just find him and make sure he's safe, Minerva replied. And I shall consider us even. I'm sorry, Minerva, Albus said as he rose from his seat. But I must take my leave. Of course, Minerva replied. I imagine that you have quite a bit of packing to complete before you leave. Thank you, Minerva, Albus said with a hint of a twinkle. I don't know what I'd do without you. Luna walked into the castle and immediately went off in search of her new compatriot. Hello, Luna, Hermione's voice spoke up from behind and startled the blonde girl. Hello, Hermione, Luna replied with a dazed look. Have you found any information on Harry? No, Hermione replied with a frown. I've been making arrangements so we could leave. That's okay, Luna replied with a grin. I've found some information. What information? Hermione demanded. Only Mr. Black can find Harry, Luna replied. But Mr. Black won't look unless someone asks him. Yumi and Tonks can ask Mr. Black without annoying him and dying before our time. Okay, Hermione replied uncertainly. And I also got us a discount at the travel store, Luna said happily. Isn't that nice? Sure it is, Luna, Hermione agreed. My friend, the professor called out to Harry. We are ready to leave. All right, Harry replied. I just need to go down to take care of a few small things at Gringotts first. We shall hold ourselves ready for your return, the professor replied. I'll try not to take too long, Harry replied. Port me down. Harry arrived in front of the Wizarding Bank and walked through the double doors into the lobby. The bank was busier than Harry had ever seen it, and there was a long line in front of the counters filled with people waiting to get their meeting with the goblins. Sighing, Harry walked to the back of the line and took his place. Mr. Black, the man in front of Harry said without turning around. Such a surprise to see you here. Yeah, Harry agreed dully. Surprise, what are you doing out of your shop? Just a simple trip to the bank, the shopkeeper said with a smile. I had a feeling that it would be a good idea. Any other feelings? Harry asked mildly. Well, the shopkeeper began. I have a feeling that there's something in Amsterdam you'd like to see, and it may be a good idea to visit my cousin in Norway, but other than that. Thanks, Harry said reluctantly. It is a pleasure to be of service, the shopkeeper replied. Now if you will excuse me, I believe I see free counter. So do I, Harry said. Funny the way the bank seemed to empty when you said my name. A coincidence, I'm sure. The shopkeeper called over his shoulder as he walked to the counter. I'll bet, Harry muttered as he walked to the counter. Mr. Black, I presume? The goblin asked with a toothy grin. One of our senior managers has requested a meeting with you. That's fine, Harry agreed. I suppose I have time for a meeting today. Excellent, the goblin said enthusiastically. Please come with me. Harry followed the goblin into a richly decorated waiting room. Is this the place? This is the waiting room, the goblin replied. The director will be with you in a moment. Thank you, Harry said impassively. Mr. Black, an elderly goblin called out as he entered the room. I apologize for making you wait so long. Think nothing of it, Harry replied. I didn't even have time to sit down. Please come into my office, the old goblin said with a wave towards the open door. And please make yourself at home. Thank you, Harry agreed. Wondering why the goblins were acting so strange, Harry walked into the office and took a seat. To start with, the elderly goblin said as he walked across the room to his desk. I thought it best to tell you that we are aware of who you really are. We do have access to your banking records after all. I see, Harry said calmly. I would also like to assure you that Gringotts has a strict policy of confidentiality. No one will hear a word about what we have been able to deduce. The goblin finished. Forgive me for my lapse. My name is Bill Hook and I am an advisor to the senior staff. Pleased to meet you, Harry replied with a nod. Would it be rude to ask why you are all acting so? Harry tried to find a word that wouldn't come off as an insult. Strange? Bill Hook asked with a grin. It is because you have what few humans have ever gained. Our respect. You did not inherit the bulk of your fortune. You earned it. You discovered hundreds of lost tombs filled with priceless artifacts. And you are a co-founder of the most successful company in history. A businessman's businessman. We cannot help but respect a man who has been able to make so much out of so little in such a short amount of time. Thank you, Harry whispered. I have been authorized to make you an offer on behalf of my superiors, Bill Hook began. In return for allowing us the use of an ultra-high-level security facility on your island, we are willing to give you Gringotts' first vault and aid you in a number of other ways. I agree with the following conditions, Harry said. No deal will go through without the approval of my employee, the architect. The construction of the facility will be paid for by Gringotts and will be under the control of my employee, the architect. The goblin said dumbly. I was going to demand that he be given the techs and I was going to offer full funding in return. Funny how the world works, Harry said with a cold grin. Do we have a deal? Yes, we do, the goblin replied. It is a pleasure doing business with you, Mr. Black. The pleasure was all mine, Harry corrected with a smirk. Before I go, there's just one thing I'd like to do. What's that, Mr. Black? The goblin asked with a smile. I'd like to see the wills of my parents and Sirius Black. Harry replied. That's the reason I came in today. Right away, the goblin agreed quickly, and the documents were sitting on the desk in moments. It says here that I should distribute the money between any survivors as I see fit, said Harry, holding up Sirius's will. I'd like to have the following amounts given to the following people. Okay, Hermione said to her partner. Let's go down the checklist. Right, Luna agreed. Rubber pants? Tron. Hermione stopped herself. Why don't I read the list? But you didn't say check, Luna protested. How are we ever going to know if we have rubber pants if you don't say check? We don't have rubber pants, Hermione said with a fake smile. Now it's my turn to read the list. But we might need rubber pants, Luna continued. And where are we going to get rubber pants our size at this time of night? Why don't we just worry about that later, Hermione suggested, and focus on the things we need to do before we start our search. Like buy rubber pants? Luna asked. Yes, Hermione agreed through clenched teeth. Like buy rubber pants. Okay, Luna said with a smile. Okay, Hermione said. The bushy-haired girl forced herself to take several calming breaths. Have you arranged to continue your education? Why would I do that? Luna asked in genuine confusion. So that you can pass your exams, Hermione said slowly. Luna looked puzzled. Oh, I took my exams ages ago. What? Hermione asked in shock. Then why are you still in school? Because that's where all my friends are, of course, Luna said with a frown. What other reason would I go to school? To forget it, Hermione ordered. How did you do on your exams? I thought you told me to forget it. Not that, Hermione said quickly. You really need to learn to be more decisive, Hermione, Luna said with a frown. Just answer the bloody question, Hermione growled. Oh right, Luna agreed. And seem to remember having the third highest collective score in the last 50 years. Does that help? Hermione's jaw was hanging, and her eyes were glazed. Oh dear, Luna said sadly. I think I broke up. I wonder if Harry will get angry with me if he finds out. A few moments of contemplation convinced Luna that maybe Harry might blame her for the small role she played in driving Hermione mad. Now where should I hide the body? Luna mused. Body? Hermione asked in alarm. Of evidence we gather to find Harry, Luna said innocently. Right. I think Professor McGonagall said something about sending it all to Hogwarts for distribution. Hermione said. She was still looking at the blonde girl oddly. Oh goody, Luna said with a giggle. Now that everything is set, we can be on our way. Let's go, Hermione said in defeat. To Gringotts then, Luna said as she dragged her partner towards the nearest Floo connection. It'll be ever so much fun. Yeah, Hermione agreed. Fun. Luna was humming to Gringotts. We will go, as the girls tumbled out of the fireplace. Come on, Hermione, Luna said as she pulled the larger girl to her feet. I want to see if they have any loud-mouthed snooks here. Why don't we focus on getting Harry first? Hermione suggested. Okay, Luna agreed with a smile. Excuse me, Mr. Goblin Teller. Oh hello, Ms. Lovegood. How is your father? He still thinks you control the Minister of Magic with a brain-eating worm, Luna said cheerfully. Little does he know. Yes, quite, the Goblin agreed. I take it you've come here for the reading of Sirius Black's will. No, Luna disagreed. We came here to get some gold so we could go Harry hunting. But we'd be happy to do that after the will reading, Hermione interjected. Then come this way, the Goblin commanded. The girls followed the Goblin through several halls and into a large meeting room filled with people. Have a seat, the reading will begin shortly. A distinguished-looking man walked to the head of the room and cleared his throat. Now that we have everyone here that is going to attend, I think it best that we begin. I, Sirius Black, would like to give the following loot to the following people. To Moony, my brother Remus Lupin, I give 10,000 galleons and my flat in Diagon Alley. Use it well, buddy, and see you on the other side. To my cousin Tonks, I give you 10,000 galleons and my collection of tidied shirts. I hope you enjoy them as much as I did. To Harry's friend Hermione Granger, I leave 10,000 galleons. Thanks for being there for Harry. To Harry's friend Ron Weasley, I give the same and ditto. To my godson Harry James Potter, I leave the remainder of my personal fortune. Are there any questions? No, Remus said tightly. Thank you. Then I shall take my leave, the man replied. Hello, Hermione, Remus said sadly. How are you doing? I'm fine, Remus, Hermione replied. How are you? I'm trying to live my life one day at a time, Remus said. Hey, Hermione, Tonks said with a grin from Remus's side. I'm gonna have to join you later. I got an offer to attend a few classes on Black's Island and it was too good to pass up. And it's probably the best place to get leads on Harry's current location, Hermione added. Good work, Tonks, but what about? Hermione's eyes flicked to Remus. He's coming with me, Tonks explained. Black's people said it was okay. They asked me to teach a class on dark creatures. And another on how difficult it is to live a normal life as a werewolf. You'll do fine, Luna pronounced. You were a wonderful teacher and I learned nearly as much from you as I did from Harry. Thank you, Luna, Remus accepted the compliment. I hate to be rude, Hermione said with a frown. But we really have to be going. I understand, Remus said. Find him, please. We'll do our best, Hermione agreed. Let's go, Luna. Bye, Luna said over her shoulder. If you see Mr. Black, tell him my father still wants that book on what he did with the Vila. Where to first? Hermione asked once they'd reached the lobby. First, I'd suggest you take these. A goblin interrupted, so that you have a way to draw funds from your new accounts. New accounts? Hermione asked dumbly, but Luna didn't. I created a new one yesterday, Luna explained. Under the name Ms. White. What new identity did you choose? Hermione Granger, Hermione said weakly. That's so subtle, Luna agreed. Maybe I should change my identity back to Luna Lovegood. They'd never expect us to go by our real names. They'd never mind, Hermione said forcefully. Where should we go first? The travel shop said they'd give us a discount, Luna suggested. Maybe we should go there. Good idea, Luna. Hermione agreed. Let's go. Hermione followed Luna to an odd-looking travel shop. We're here, Luna said happily. Let's go in. Okay, Hermione agreed. I have your purchases rung up and your rucksacks are sitting behind the counter, the shopkeeper spoke as the girls walked in. There is a list on top of each bag itemizing the contents. Just tell me if I missed anything. Okay, Luna said with a grin. We will. Luna, what? Just check the list, Luna suggested. I want to ask him a few questions. Okay, Hermione agreed with an odd look on her face. What would you like to know? The shopkeeper asked. Where should we go first? Luna asked. It doesn't really matter, the shopkeeper replied with a shrug. Anywhere Mr. Black has been you might wish to follow. Or not. Like I said, it doesn't really matter. Is Mr. Black one of you? Luna demanded. One of us? The shopkeeper asked with a grin. Why, whatever do you mean? Yeah, Hermione agreed. What are you talking about? Luna. Seers, Luna replied tightly. They're all seers. Too true, the shopkeeper agreed. I'm of the children of Cassandra, cursed by the gods. Cursed by the gods? Hermione asked. It's quite common for the older families to have a curse or blessing. The shopkeeper agreed. For example, we have young Harry Potter, the favored of the goddesses, and we have the Lovegoods. What about the Lovegoods? Hermione asked by reflex. Half Fae, the shopkeeper said with a grin. Never the same since they came out from Underhill. Never more than half in the world. It must be taking everything you have to stay so focused. Very impressive. It's taking all I have not to turn you into a newt, Luna said tightly. I just get better, the shopkeeper said with a grin. I take it the lists were to your satisfaction. They were, Hermione agreed. Let's go, Luna. Okay, Luna agreed, and the two girls walked out. Luna, Hermione asked after they had left the shop. Yes, Hermione, Luna replied, the dreamy expression back on her face. Was it true what he said about you being half Fae? Hermione said slowly. Some of it, Luna allowed. I have trouble focusing on one thing because there's so much to see, so much to take in. I'm sorry, it's a bit like explaining color to a blind man. I think I understand, Hermione said quietly. What about the part with Harry? Luck and justice, Luna said with a giggle. He's their favored son, one helps Harry stand them up and the other helps him knock them down. But what does that mean? Hermione said in frustration. I don't know, Luna admitted. It all has to do with the Olympian pantheon. My family never had much to do with them. Their names are Tyke and Nemesis, if that helps. It does, Hermione agreed. Thank you, Luna. So where are we going? The professor asked with a smile. Amsterdam, Harry replied, and then to Finland. After that maybe we can set things up in Canada. Already done, Hench Girl spoke up. When do I have to start the program? Harry asked. Few weeks, Hench Girl answered with a shrug. Doesn't matter much. I was sure they'd be flexible. Thanks, Harry said with a smile. Then after that, back to the island maybe. Sounds good, the professor agreed. Minerva, Albus said with a smile. It's long past time that I was on my way. Good luck, Albus, Minerva replied. If all else fails, just make sure he's safe. I will, Albus promised. Take this, be sure to give one to each of the searchers. What's this? Minerva asked. The headmaster had just handed her a large box. It contains a number of Zippos, Albus replied. I used my position to get the aura models, a bit more secure than the standard model, and able to conference call. It'll help everyone stay in contact. I will, Minerva agreed. Good thinking, Albus. Thank you, the headmaster replied. It is good to think that I can still have a good idea on occasion.
Ready to go, Remus?
Tonks asked nervously. She was still afraid that he'd back out at the last minute. Yes, Remus agreed. I'm all packed. Are you sure we have to share a room? Of course I am, Tonks replied in a huff. You're coming as my guest. It wouldn't be possible to get you your own quarters. Yeah, but, Remus began. Are you sure it's proper to have a man living with an unmarried woman? I'm sure, Tonks replied. She was equally sure that the room would only have one small bed, one large bath that had to be shared if one wanted there to be enough hot water, and a closet full of energy potions. It had taken a bit of planning, but she'd managed to get most of her requests approved. The only thing she hadn't gotten was a charm on the door that removed a person's clothing when they entered the room.
Damn it.
If you're sure, Remus agreed nervously. I am, Tonks said with a predatory smile. He'd been single far too long. So had she for that matter. We've arrived in Amsterdam, Hench Girl called out. You can port down any time you wish. Thank you, Harry replied. Was there anything you or the professor wanted to do while we're here? Nope, Hench Girl said. Nothing. Same here, Harry agreed. I'm still not sure why I listened to that bloody shopkeep. Sooner you leave the sooner we can be on our way, Hench Girl prompted. And the sooner you can drink the yummy vitamin potion that I'll be making. I'll be back as soon as I can then, Harry said with a fond grin. Port me down. Harry appeared on the street in front of a couple of very surprised Stadstovenars. I don't bloody believe it, one of them whispered to his companion. What are the chances that Mr. Black shows up when we're out practicing how to tail people? 0, the other replied. He's just checking up on use, making sure we're practicing what he showed us. That must be it, the first agreed. You go back to headquarters and tell the boss who's here. I'll follow Mr. Black. Sounds good, the other man replied. Tell me how things turn out. Harry walked a dozen steps down the street, then paused to take a bit of air through his nose. You may as well take off that invisibility cloak, Harry said to nothingness.
How did you know?
The Stadstovenar asked, in awe. I know I didn't make a sound. I know I didn't leave any indentations in the ground, and I know you didn't use your mage sight. I smelled you, Harry explained. You used no scent soap, but it wasn't good enough. Nice try though. Thank you, sir, the man said with a smile. It is always a pleasure to have you in town. I take it they decided to send you a message then. Not yet, Harry replied calmly. He didn't have a clue what the man was talking about, but he wasn't going to admit that. You may as well tell them I'm here. Yes, sir, I already sent my partner ahead, but I'll call to tell them that you're ready. The man agreed. Harry watched as the law enforcement officer pulled out a Zippo and began whispering into it. If you'll come with me, sir, we can get the situation resolved as quickly as possible. All right, Harry agreed. Why don't you give me the background information while we walk? Don't you know, sir? Never let them know what you know, Harry replied. It is always enlightening to find out what they want to say. I understand, sir, the officer replied. It was great to get another chance to learn a few tricks from the best. We've got an enchanted painting that we need to authenticate. The charms on the canvas are so old that it's difficult to be sure of anything. Are there other representations of the caster's work? Harry asked quickly. I'd like to have something to compare it with. Yes, there are, sir, the man said quickly. I'm no art expert, Harry began, but I'll do my best. We appreciate that, sir, the Stadstorvenar replied. It's this building right in front of you. Harry followed the Stadstorvenar into the small building to find a group of people waiting for him. Stadstorvenar van der Meyer, how good to see you again. It's good to see you again too, Mr. Black, Amy replied. Thank you for coming. Where's the painting? Harry asked quickly. I hate to be rude, but I have a few other things I have to do today. Of course, Amy replied. We wouldn't think of delaying you any longer than we have to. It's right this way. Amy motioned towards an open door and followed Harry in. The center of the room held a large statue of an enormously fat man. Sans clothing, and Harry felt a bit put out that they'd want him to examine something like that. Is this it? He asked. It's a piece that was enchanted by the man that we believe may have enchanted the painting, Amy replied. All right. Harry squinted at the statue for a few minutes. Where is the painting? It's the one to the left of the door, Amy replied. Rembrandt? Harry asked with a thoughtful look as he examined the painting. We think so, the museum director replied. But we haven't been able to authenticate it. You hope that if you can match the charms to the caster, then you'll be able to get a bit more evidence? Harry asked, as he squinted at the painting. Yes, we do, the director replied. There are only a few known cases of Muggle painters working with magical painters to create works of art. If this was indeed painted by Rembrandt, then it is likely that the patron tried to hide the fact to avoid going to jail for violating the statutes of secrecy. Most of the enchantment appears to have been cast by the same person that enchanted the statue, Harry said slowly, though there are a few patches that were cast by at least one other person. Can't say who that could have been. Thank you, Mr. Black, the museum director said with a smile. It has been a pleasure working with you. I am always happy to get a chance to visit an art museum, Harry replied, so I thank you for giving me the chance to do so and call it work. Port me up. Harry was greeted by two curious looks when he arrived on the bridge of the Zeppelin. Well? Hench girl asked. They wanted me to take a look at a painting, Harry replied with a shrug. That's all. Well, that's that then, the professor said. Shall we be off to Norway then? Sure, Harry agreed. The shopkeeper said that I should talk to one of his cousins. Do you have any idea what part of Norway? The professor asked with a frown. It is after all a large country. Just head to whatever part you want, Harry replied with a shrug. And if that isn't the correct place, then I'll call the shopkeeper and look for another. Excellent idea, the professor agreed. Off we go, into the wild blue yonder. Do you have to sing? Harry interrupted. Yes. Yes, I do, the professor agreed. Now where was I? Oh yes. Off we go into the wild blue yonder. Come on, Remus, Tonks demanded. I just wanted to be sure that we had everything ready, the older man replied. It doesn't hurt to be careful. I know that, Tonks said quickly, but we can always come back for anything we forgot. Want to get to Black's Island as fast as possible. I understand your eagerness, Remus conceded, but getting careless will just cause us to waste more time later. I know, Tonks agreed, but you're taking forever. I'm sorry, Remus said contritely. I am finished now. Then touch the port key, Tonks commanded, and let's go to Fantasy Island. Fantine, Remus's question was cut off as the port key activated. Turzy Island, where all my dreams will come true, Tonks agreed. Ah, Aura Tonks, Percy called out in greeting. Right on time. Percy? Tonks asked in shock. Pencil actually, Percy replied. Most of the permanent workers in Mr. Black's service choose to go by code names. Yours is No Face if you should choose to use it, and your companion's is Mooney. How did Gryffindor began? Is Mr. Black, Percy interrupted. I find it best to not be surprised by anything he does. Right, Tonks said quickly. Could you show us to our rooms? Right this way, Percy agreed. I hope you don't mind, but I've decided to take you to your rooms via the scenic route. The scenic route? Tonks asked. Through the Hall of Badges and Trophies, Percy explained as they entered the hall. The Hall of Badges and Trophies is so named because it contains all of the badges that have been awarded to Mr. Black by various organizations around the world. Texas Department of Public Safety, Remus read from a brass plaque below one of the badges. I understand they sent it because Mr. Black was once a member of their organization, Percy said. Something about wearing a mask but not crossing the line. If you'll walk this way you'll see a small assortment of Mr. Black's most recent trophies. Why is there a roll of cable there? Tonks asked. It's a cabal of Death Eaters, Percy replied. I'm not sure what that means, but I have seen several people giggling when they walk by it. I'm sure you could find out if you were to ask. Thanks, Tonks said. She was a bit overwhelmed by the size of the complex. Your mother was a Black, was she not? Percy asked as they continued down the hall. Yes, why? Tonks asked coldly. Because rumor has it that Mr. Black himself has taken an interest in your career, Percy replied. I normally don't concern myself with such things, but I thought you may like to know that little tidbit. Oh, thanks, Percy. The pencil, Percy reminded gently, and it was the least I could do. We are here, the professor called out. Good, Harry said with a fake smile. Coming, hench girl? No, hench girl shook her head. I'm going to be working on a potion that causes deafness. Have fun with that, and save some for me, please. I will, hench girl promised, and then I'm going to start working on a pair of earplugs. Sounds good, Harry said. Port me down. Harry appeared on the ground in front of a large curio shop. What an amazing coincidence, he muttered to himself. What are the chances that I would land in front of what is probably my destination, frigging shopkeepers? Hello? The woman behind the counter called out as Harry entered. What can I do for you? Your cousin said I should talk to you, Harry said. And you had better not be planning to send me on a quest. No, of course not, the woman replied with a nervous grin. Good, Harry said coldly, because if I find out any differently, the shopkeeper tossed a bundle of papers under the counter. I may have a few old maps and whatnot, but that doesn't mean I'd send you on a quest. I just thought you liked maps and whatnot. Good, Harry replied. My cousin sent you here because I have some things that might be useful, the woman continued. And I can also give you some old treasure maps and some old sagas. You know, stuff that could be used on a quest, but would be much better doing something that has nothing to do with a quest. What are the items you wanted to give me? Harry prompted. Well, the woman began, the first thing you have to know is that the curse is stronger in some of us. I just get feelings. Go on. I have a feeling that you could use this hand axe. The woman put an old Viking axe on the counter, along with this knife, and this leather bag. What's in the bag? Harry asked. I had a feeling that you would be spending time in the wilderness, the woman replied. The bag is filled with things that would be useful. Great. Anything else? This book on Sami spells, the woman said as she put a book on the counter. And this book on White Russian magic, traded for it with one of my cousins in Finland. I'm told that you got a book on red magic from one of my other cousins. Yes, I did, Harry agreed. I'll take it all, thanks. Including the stuff that has nothing to do with quests, the woman asked hopefully. Fine, Harry said through clenched teeth. Including that stuff. Great, the woman said. You might also want to take a course from a man named Kachansky in Canada, just a feeling, but it might come in handy. Thanks, Harry replied as he gathered up his purchases. Port me up. Well? Hench girl demanded. What'd you get? Couple of spell books, Harry replied. And some stuff that'll be useful for living in the backwoods. That's all? Hench girl asked with a frown. And a bunch of treasure maps, Harry corrected himself. Almost forgot about those. Gimme, Hench girl commanded. Looks like they're mostly locations of old Norse settlements. Cool, Harry said, with a grin. Might be fun to look into that after I become an archaeologist. I think it would be even more fun to build a pirate ship and hunt for the pirate treasure on these other maps. Hench girl said with a grin. Why don't we put that off for now? Harry suggested. Okay, Hench girl agreed. Back to the island then. Yeah, Harry said with an evil smirk. I think it's time Mr. Black taught his first course. Mwahaha, Hench girl cackled.
Why are you doing that?
Harry asked, with an odd look on his face. Because it's fun, Hench girl explained. And because I'm a mad scientist, the rules state that I must cackle at least 3 times a day. Oh, Harry said dumbly. Don't let me stop you then. Now where was I? Oh yes. Mwahaha. We still haven't decided where to go first. Hermione groused. You'd think we could figure that much. The beach, Luna shouted. Let's go to the beach. Oh, it'll be so much fun. And what does this have to do with finding Harry? Hermione asked with a forced smile. Or Mr. Black? Nothing at all, Luna replied happily. But I think we'll have an easier time figuring out where to go if we're relaxing on the beach. How about a place that will help us find Harry or Mr. Black? Hermione suggested. Bulgaria, Luna replied quickly. It's as good a place as any.
Why's that?
Mr. Black sated an entire conclave of Vila, Luna explained. And he's worshipped as a living god of fertility. I guess, Hermione wavered. It's also close to Transylvania, the home of one of Mr. Black's good friends. We may want to have Remus along when we visit him. That makes sense, Hermione said suspiciously. And I think I can get Daddy to pay for it all, Luna finished. If we can't get Mr. Black to tell us what he did to those Vila and how, then maybe we can get the Vila to tell us what Mr. Black did to them. Anything we were able to pass along would almost certainly make quite a bit of money. Money we could use to help us look for Harry. Fine, Hermione agreed. Let's go get a portkey. Here we are, Luna enthused. Bulgaria? Now all we gotta do is find those Vila so we can get them to tell us what Mr. Black did with them. Yeah, Hermione agreed. Then, wait, why do we want to learn about what Mr. Black did to a group of Vila? How is that going to help us find Harry? Luna looked blank. Aren't we reporters looking for our next big scoop? No, we're two girls looking for Mr. Black so that he can tell us where to find Harry Potter. Oh, right, Luna agreed. Let's go find those Vila so that we can find Mr. Black. Then we'll seduce the location of Harry out of him and write a book about it. No seduction, Hermione said firmly. It's too dangerous. Maybe just a little danger. Luna asked hopefully. No, Hermione snarled. What was that you just mumbled? Hermione asked sharply. What was what? Who? Just what? Luna said innocently. Grr. Hermione had to remind herself that Luna would be useful in her hunt. Again, for the 10th time, that day. You really need to learn to relax, Luna said, oblivious to the danger. It's not good for you to be so tense all the time. I know maybe those Vila can help you ease the tension. No. Then maybe Mr. Black can. Drop it, Hermione snapped. Oh, look at all the townsfolk, Luna shouted. Hello, townsfolk. What? For the first time, Hermione noticed that her little scene with Luna was being observed. Hello everyone, Hermione said with a nervous chuckle. I was wondering if any of you knew where I could find Mr. Black. Right behind you, one of the old women replied. Hermione whirled around to find herself staring at a statue. What's this? Hermione asked flatly. Mr. Black, the old woman replied. Patron of fertility, protector of marriage. Protector of marriage, Hermione prompted. If those Vila are busy with him, then they have no time for our husbands, another woman explained. Right. Hermione agreed. We were actually looking for the actual Mr. Black. You haven't seen him, have you? Not for a few months, an old shopkeeper replied. But you might want to go up the road to the Vila Sanctuary. One of them might be able to tell you where to find him. Thanks, Hermione replied. Come on, Luna. Okay, Luna agreed quickly. We're off to see the Vila. No singing, Hermione commanded. Or, Luna sulked. How about humming? No. Whistling? No. Playing a musical instrument? Do you have any musical instruments? Hermione asked wearily. No, Luna replied with an innocent smile. Butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. No anyway, Hermione replied with a fake grin. River dancing? No. Tap dancing? No. And so it went on till they reached the Vila Sanctuary, 4 hours later. Okay, Luna agreed. I won't do any of those things. Good, Hermione said with thinly disguised relief. What I don't understand is why Mr. Black is seen as some sort of fertility god in that village. It's fairly common to have death and rebirth linked, Luna explained. I'd have thought you'd have been aware of that. I am, Hermione agreed. But the figure of rebirth is commonly female and many times it's the same figure in a different aspect. True, Luna replied slowly. On the other hand, Mr. Black is believed to have kept company with a large number of Vila. That may be enough to convince them. Things like that don't just crop up overnight, Hermione said. They have to have time to develop. If you say so, Luna said with a non-committal shrug. Good, Hermione said in relief. Let me do the talking. What talking? Luna asked. When we talk to the Veela, Hermione replied. What about sign language? Luna asked. Can I do that? Why don't you just forget what I just said? Hermione suggested. Okay, Luna agreed. Now, let's get things started. Hermione walked up to the large house and knocked on the door. Hello? A platinum-haired woman answered the door. May I help you? Have you seen Mr. Black? Hermione got right down to business. Quite a bit of him, the Veela agreed with a silly grin. Why? I mean recently, Hermione prompted. In the last few days, maybe. No, the Veela replied sadly. But if you see him, tell him that we miss him. I will, Hermione agreed. We would be willing to pay a handsome sum for the privilege of his company, another Veela offered. I'll tell you where you might be able to find him if you answer a question, Luna offered with a grin. What do you want to know? Several Veela stared at Luna intently. What did you do with Mr. Black? Luna asked quickly. Many things. One Veela replied. He is very skilled, another added. Very helpful, another agreed. A man among men. Now tell us where to find him. The last Veela demanded. He might not be there, Luna began, but he does have an ancient evil fortress down by Antarctica. Thank you, one of the Veela replied. Now if you will excuse us, we must be packing. Luna, Hermione asked calmly, if you knew about Mr. Black's island, why didn't we just go there first? It's because I don't think he's there right now, Luna replied. And we've already got Tonks searching there. Let's go to Prague. Will that help us find Harry or Mr. Black? They have good beer, Luna offered. We could use that as bait for a trap. Let's just go back to town and plan our next destination there, and get some headache potions. And some antacids. Not feeling well? Luna asked sympathetically. I know just the thing to help you relax. Harry stepped up to the podium and looked out at his class. I'm told that many of you know who I am, and for those that don't, my name is Mr. Black. The students gasped when they realized the identity of their mysterious instructor. In the back of the room, one hardened aura fainted, and another began crying. Let's just say that many of the recruits attracted by the Fudge administration weren't of the highest quality, and leave it at that. All right, Harry said after everything had calmed down. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make an omelette. Silently, nearly every person in the class began using their impressive intellects in an attempt to decipher the hidden meaning behind Mr. Black's seemingly innocent comments. The first thing you have to know about making an Atlantean omelette is that you make it without breaking any eggs. Excuse me, one of the auras called out, but may I ask where you learned to make Atlantean omelette? From a chap named Mirren, or was it Meriden? Of a chap say. I guess it doesn't matter, Harry began with a smile. The guy wasn't much of a wizard, but he was one hell of a cook. Any other questions? The room went silent as everyone digested the information they'd just received. Okay, now the way you do this without breaking the shell is. The class went on for 3 hours, and Harry explained every stage of the process. The looks of confusion warmed his heart, and he couldn't wait to hear what the made of things. And this is the last stage. Harry began his conclusion. This is the time to add anything that might suit you, and it's ready to serve. As he looked over the sea of confused faces, it was only by mustering every bit of self-control, every piece of willpower, Harry managed to hold in his laughter. Any questions? The students shook their heads dumbly, and began to shuffle out the door. Harry smiled to himself. It was a good thing Henchgirl was recording this, because he intended to watch it a dozen times. Everyone needed to see something funny every now and again. Ooh, Remus, Tonks called out. Wanna play Little Red Riding Hood? I'd rather not, Remus replied with as much dignity as he was able to muster. I still say I'm too old for you. And I still say you're not, Tonks replied. How about this? I've been very naughty. Punish me, Professor. Can't we just cuddle? Remus offered. I'd rather take things slow so you don't have a chance to do something that you might later regret. That'll just give you more time to think of reasons why we shouldn't be together. Tonks replied. I'd rather not give that to you, and I'm not going to give up till you see things my way. Remus took a deep breath. Looked like it was going to be another long night. After class, a man in a trench coat quietly separated himself from the crowd, along with everyone else, and went to find a secluded corner to report. Once he'd found a sufficiently isolated location, It was easy due to the fact that the architect had included several in his plans. The man pulled off his shoe and began whispering into it. "This is Secret Agent 86. Calling Control. Come in, Control. If I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times." The voice that replied sounded more than a bit upset. "You are not Agent 86 and we are not Control." "I am now and so are you," the man replied smugly. "I had a little talk with the professor and he thought my ideas sounded great."
What?
The voice screamed in shock. "You told Black's insane scientist about that Muggle series you're obsessed with." "I did. It was nice to talk to someone that appreciates Mel's genius. He even designed several gadgets for me," the man agreed. "For the love of God, just tell me that you didn't get him to build you a cone," the voice pleaded. "Afraid I can't do that, Chief," the man replied with a grin. "But I think it's time we stopped this idle chit-chat and got on with my report. Then to bore you with the details of our new names." "Go on," the voice said in defeat. "I attended my first class," 86 began, "and was surprised to see it being taught by Mr. Black himself." "What did he teach?" the voice demanded. "How to make an omelette," 86 replied. "An omelette?" "Yes, an omelette," 86 agreed. "I'm beginning to suspect that Mr. Black might also appreciate the greats. All he taught was how to make an omelette. Without breaking any eggs," 86 replied. "It's easy once you've got the trick down." "I wonder what he was trying to tell us," the voice mused. "I don't know," 86 got back to business. "But I did think to record everything that happened. I'll send it along when you're ready." Several strange sounds came through the connection before the voice replied, "Go ahead. I think we should go to Transylvania next," Luna said. "It's the home of the Count, one of Mr. Black's best friends. If anyone knows where to find Mr. Black, it would be him." "Agreed," Hermione replied, "but I think we should wait till we can bring Remus with us. He's a werewolf and an expert on how to deal with dark creatures. His presence could be vital to the success of the next stage of the mission." "Are you sure you don't want me to give you a massage?" Luna asked suddenly. "I'm very good at it, and you look so tense." "Positive," Hermione replied quickly. "Thank you." "All right," the chief sighed. 99. "I want you to find out why Mr. Black's decided to stop being the terror that flaps in the night in favor of becoming a cooking instructor. There has got to be some hidden message that he's trying to get across." 99. The woman asked with a raised eyebrow. "You were right," the chief explained. "It was a mistake to allow Max to go somewhere that he could influence others with his insanity. One of Mr. Black's people loves his ideas for new code names." "I'm sorry, sir," 99 said with a wince. "But you can't say I didn't warn you. Here are the recordings," the chief said. "Do whatever you have to. Just figure out what Black was telling us." "Yes, sir," the woman agreed. "I'll get my team on it right away." Harry, Henchgirl and the professor were killing themselves with laughter as they watched the confused students report to their superiors. "Get a load of this one," Harry pointed to a screen showing a young English aura. "Check out the look on her face. This was the best idea ever," Henchgirl agreed. "What do you want to teach them next?" "I don't know," Harry replied, between laughs. "How to weave baskets. Enaz. As always, with thanks to my group, without which several parts of this fic would not exist. I've been working on a couple new projects, one of which may be posted on soon. The other, well, I don't know when that one will be ready for the public. Oh, make by Steve too. Harry?" Harry's eyes began to focus, but it was hard as they did not want to cooperate. As is, the last thing he wanted was to come back to the waking world. "Harry, you are right there?" Henchgirl asked again, pouring herself some coffee. "Black, naturally. Grumpflatch," Harry muttered, pointing to the cup. Henchgirl quickly got the gist of what he wanted and gave him the cup, pouring more in another mug for herself. "Morning, sleepyhead. Rough night?" she asked in a chipper voice. Then added with a slight sarcastic overtone, "Course not so sure it can be rough since we don't have any Vila on board." An old issue of the Quibbler was open on the table. "Huh? Vila? There's Vila here? If they ask for me, I'm not here. I am not going to play any more of their marathon games again." "Harry, calm down. I'm just kidding. You have bad dreams again?" Henchgirl asked, concerned. Harry took another swallow of hot, blistering hot coffee, coughed a few times, wiped away the tears of pain in his eyes for drinking something that hot so quickly and said, Nah, not bad dreams. Good dreams. Or at least one good dream. I didn't want to wake up this morning. Oh? Good dreams, you say? Care to share with the rest of the class? Hench Girl asked with a grin. Well, I'm not sure you'd appreciate the humor in it. Harry began to hedge. Why don't you let me be the judge of that? Hench Girl suggested, motioning him to sit at the table and spill. Harry sat and got settled. After a minute or so of thinking, he started, It's the same dream I've had each night for the past week. I'm in Diagon Alley, not too many people around. It's nearing closing time. The sun's just about to set. I'm not sure what I'm doing there. Harry looked around Diagon Alley. The shops had just started to wheel in their awnings and pull in anything that wasn't nailed down, magically or otherwise. How the hell had he gotten here? He asked himself, seeing a very familiar travel shop. He knew it was time to get answers. He started off towards the shop and quickly fell over. Looking down, sideways now that he was on the ground, he saw a cute little bunny. Strange, it didn't run off from him. It simply munched away on a discarded apple. The rabbit was a little bit bigger than his hand but didn't weigh all that much when Harry picked it up. He stroked its coat a few times and then carried it to the shop. Maybe he'd get around to beating the shopkeeper after he got some bunny food. Ah, Mr. Black, so very good to see you again. The aged shopkeeper smiled at his arrival. Okay, what's the deal this time? Harry demanded, still stroking the adorable brown and white bunny. Huh, was that? The shopkeeper answered in his best true innocent voice. Why'd you bring me back here? Who else do I have to kill to get you out of my life? Mr. Black, I didn't bring you here at all. Then why am I back in your store? Harry really wanted to slap this guy. I thought you said this was a good dream. Hench Girl asked. It is, Harry agreed. Just you wait until I get to the good part. The shopkeeper must have sensed his imminent beating and quite carefully said, If I had to hazard a guess as to why you here, I'd have to say it was due to that plot bunny you have in your hands. What? That threw the beating of the shopkeeper off. Harry looked down at the innocent, cute bunny in his hands. Plot bunny. You do know what they are, don't you? No, they're fairly common. Most wizards don't even know of them because they do not affect them at all. Basically, these are bunnies that facilitate a person's life. Huh? Was it? Harry tried to come to grasp with the cute Whittle bunny in his hands. That or to try and keep it from peeing on him. Think of it this way, have you ever felt like your purpose was over, or that there was something you needed to do, that you wanted to do but knew that it had to wait until a later date? A plot bunny can help facilitate turning that sense of purposelessness into having a purpose. Harry was actually intrigued. Sometimes they speed up time for the individual, or move you through time and space altogether. In most cases they move you to where you need to be. It's really up to the wizard's power, and before you ask, no, most wizards do not use them as they are not powerful enough to affect a plot bunny at all. It takes a lot of power to energize a plot bunny. So tell me, Mr. Black, are you feeling a little purposeless these days? Well, yes. I guess so. Is there something you feel you need to do? Well, I'm glad that old Voldemort is gone, but sometimes I feel like he got off too easy, you know? Like if I had my way that wanker would pay more for what he's done. And with that Harry disappeared from reality, only to reappear in front of a familiar-looking shopkeeper. Good to meet you, Mr. Black, he said. I take it your travels have gone well. What just happened? Harry immediately went on guard. Something was off. I am guessing you have traveled to your intended purpose. Don't you feel something familiar? At Harry's blank look, the shopkeeper pointed to his forehead. His scar. He could feel Voldemort again. The cretin was alive. Harry looked at the shopkeeper who was reading a portkey. How? He started. You traveled to an alternate reality if I had to guess. Fortunately there was an available plot bunny to help out. I take it you want to write some things? With a feral grin in place, Mr. Black took the portkey and said, See you soon. Activate. Harry vanished from the shop only to reappear in a throne room with a lot of still living death munchers groveling at the feet of a right ass. Wormtail, I thought my 6:30 appointment was to meet some new recruits and lynch a muggle family. Did you inform me wrong? Old Lizard Breath eyed his minion evilly. No, master. This must be an intruder. Do you wish me to dispatch him? Voldemort looked at the newcomer. Perhaps, tell me, stranger, why have you come into my most holy sanctorum? Harry looked around, ignoring his mortal enemy. He saw something that lifted his spirits. Today was a good day after all. Hey, is that Bellatrix and the Lestrange brothers over there? Hi guys. Acme. Bellatrix looked at the strange man curiously. Do you want me to torture him into insanity, my lord? She asked, tapping her wand into the palm of her left hand. No, he appears to be there already. Tell me your name, stranger, before we begin our games with you. They call me. Harry started but stopped as a monstrous anvil landed on Bellatrix's head, causing it and the rest of her shoulders, heck, the entire chest cavity for that matter, to suddenly go south for the foreseeable future, so to speak. In other words, she got smushed real good. Voldemort started only to have both Lestrange brothers copy the fate of Bellatrix. Mr. Black, Harry finished, smiling as he took out his camera and snapped an instant picture of the grisly scene. The camera floated for a moment and then vanished, only to reappear again a second later. The picture shunted out of the feeder, which would take a few minutes to automatically magically develop. Later Harry would see the entire anvil scene on the three Lestranges play over and over. He really had to hand it to the professor for creating this latest invention. Neville was going to enjoy his next birthday present. He might even frame it and put it on a wall somewhere. Ah, good time. So, you have come to join me? Voldemort asked hopefully while sliding his wand out and getting ready to do battle. Nope, sorry, just came by to say explosivo castrado. Wand out. Voldemort tried to block the spell but was a tad too slow. As such, his nether regions kind of exploded, and not in a good way. Harry was a bit bummed at not being able to see the thrashing, moaning and groaning that Tommy Boy was engaged in, as he had to take care of a few dozen Death Eaters, which, as his good luck had it, did hear his name and quickly dropped their wands and surrendered. But it was always a good idea to incarcerate them before they found their mob mentality again, and tried to stab him in the back. Shortly the 24 now stupefied death munchers were taken care of, and Harry focused his attention on the primary reason he was there. How's it hanging, Tom? Oops, sorry. That was kind of crass of me, wasn't it? I can't believe you did this, you bastard. What did I ever do to you? Voldemort grimaced as he tried to cauterize the wound himself, only to miss and scorch a knee. Harry then spent another 10 minutes finding inventive ways to torment Voldemort, mostly by calling him Tom since that bothered him so much. What a cry baby. He then killed him like before, and even though Wormtail had fled again, he knew it was only a matter of time before he collected that particular rat, and he wanted to enjoy the hunt. Return, Harry commanded, and he was again in the travel shop. Welcome back, Mr. Black. How do you feel now? Better. That was fun. I'll have to do it again sometime. Well, I guess I'd better get back to my original reality. Where did that rabbit get to? Harry looked around the shop for a few minutes before finding the bunny, near the children's section of shop where international gags were sold. Chuckling, Harry picked up the bunny and said, "Silly rabbit, tricks are for kids." And then I started to wake up, Harry concluded. Hench Girl was grinning and chuckling at the image of anvils falling on Death Eater heads. Harry heard a noise from the doorway and looked over his shoulder to see the professor standing there, a thoughtful expression on his face. Plot bunny, you say, and you've had this dream multiple times. Yes, I think it could work, he muttered before leaving. Hench Girl's expression turned thoughtful as well. She looked at Harry with a calculating gaze. What? Harry asked. Harry, Hench Girl started. You do know that plot bunnies exist, right? Chief, 99 called out as she entered the office. I think we've figured out what Black was doing and you're not going to believe it. What is it? The chief demanded. Two things, or I should say at least two things. 99 amended, when you're working with Black you can never be sure. What's the first one? You've heard the saying, you can't break an omelette without breaking a few eggs. 99 continued at the chief's nod. Mr. Black made an omelette without breaking any eggs. A lesson in morality. At a guess he's telling us to play nice, but with him, anything is possible, the chief interrupted. What's the second? The second is a bit more interesting. 99 replied. Well, what is it? Why don't I show you? 99 suggested. To be honest, I wouldn't have believed it without seeing it myself. Get on with it then, the chief said gruffly. Come on in, 99 called out. Several men rushed in and began setting up a small kitchen. What are you? Just watch, sir, 99 commanded. For the next few minutes, the chief watched his men cook, and he was beginning to worry that he'd been a bit too hard on them. Just when it was starting to look like the only thing he was going to learn is that sleep deprivation isn't conducive to good research methods, 99 approached with an odd-looking potion and an omelette. What's that? The chief demanded. Why don't you try the omelette first? 99 suggested. Why don't you tell me what you've found out? The chief retorted. Before I'm forced to move you from field work to food service. He took a bite. I might do that anyway. This is rather good. That's just it, chief. 99 said quickly. Open the bottle of potion. The chief opened the bottle and immediately regretted it. What's this vile stuff? The foul smell wafting from the bottle made everyone wish they had no nose. Just watch, sir, 99 commanded. One of the others took the potion and began making another omelette, this time adding half of the horrible potion. What he just added is a Odoratarenus potion, known far and wide as being the worst smelling and worst tasting potion in the world, with both features completely impervious to any clouding or alteration. It has no use besides that, and so far only a man named Zunko is known for making any use of it. What does this have to do with anything? The chief growled. Take a bit, sir. 99 handed the chief the second omelette. The chief's face went pale and he was starting to regret allowing this demonstration to take place. After a few minutes of psyching himself up, the chief cut off a very small piece and gingerly placed it in his mouth. Eyes widening in disbelief, he tried a larger one, and then tried a piece from the normal omelette. I can't believe this, he said in shock. Neither could we, sir, 99 agreed. And it works on every potion we thought to try. Incredible. I wonder if any of the others have managed to figure it out. 99 blushed. Actually, sir, after we figured it out, we realized that Mr. Black told us how it works, but we just didn't understand what he meant. What do you mean? The chief demanded. The last step, 99 explained. He said that now's the time you can add something extra, or words to that effect. We had the solution in front of us the entire time. He even asked if anyone had any questions. Don't worry about that, the chief commanded. When it comes to Mr. Black, nothing is ever what it seems. He tricked us by not tricking us. Mr. Black, hench girl said nervously. You have a visitor. Oh? Harry asked. Who? Some cook from Japan, hench girl replied. And I think you should see this. Okay, Harry agreed. Let's go. Harry followed hench girl out of his office and stared in shock at the odd man he found waiting for him. The man was dressed in a silver chef's outfit, and was carrying at least 24 cooking knives. I am the Steel Chef, the man introduced himself, the 63rd generation of the Yamajima soul of cooking. I have spent the last 10 years wandering around the globe challenging masters and learning new cooking techniques. Really? Harry asked with a raised eyebrow. You're hired. When can you start? What? The Steel Chef asked in shock. He had come to this cursed place to challenge an immortal to a duel to determine the best chef, and he was being offered a job. The pencil will give you any papers you need to sign and show you to your rooms, Harry continued. Welcome aboard. Harry grabbed the dazed man's hand and gave it a firm shake. I know you'll do us proud. Thank you, the chef said reflexively. Now if you will excuse me, I must be getting back to my business. Harry said with a smile. Be sure to ask if you have any questions or need anything. Let's go, hench girl. Okay, hench girl agreed. The Steel Chef didn't move for several minutes. Excuse me, Percy called out to the unmoving man. Would you like to sign these forms now or see your apartments first? I came to challenge him, the Steel Chef said dumbly, and he gives me a job. He'd have likely looked at the challenge as an interview, Percy said with a shrug. Be happy, the fact that he hired you means that he considers you the best in your field. He only hires the best he can find. I shall do everything I can to live up to such high expectations. The Steel Chef said humbly. Truly Mr. Black is as great a man as I have heard. I'm glad to hear that, Percy said honestly. Moody here, the paranoid Auror answered his Zippo. You may wish to avoid identifying yourself when you answer, the voice replied. It could allow some miscreant to track you down. Who is this? Moody growled. Oh, forgive me for not introducing myself. This is the professor. I work for Mr. Black. What do you want? Moody demanded. You, the professor replied. To teach a course or two on Mr. Black's island. He recommended you by name. Really? Moody asked in interest. What'd he say? He said that you were fairly good at what you do, the professor replied, but that you need pay more attention to your surroundings. He would have said that, Moody replied. Tell him that I accept, and be sure to parcel on my thanks for the whiskey. I will, the professor agreed, and on behalf of Black Ink I'd like to welcome you to team. Harry was wandering through the halls when he discovered a group of people milling around a door. Curious, he decided to move in and investigate. What's all this? Harry asked. Just getting ready for class, one of the people replied. Class? Harry prompted. Muha, the man said in understanding. Well, here's how it works on the island. You can attend any class you wish to take, use some of the library, and view the recordings of previously taught classes. In return, you agree to deal with any situations that Mr. Black sends your way to the best of your ability, and you may be asked to teach a few classes of your own. Sounds good, Harry said with a smirk. What's this class? We like to call it the history of Mr. Black, the man said with a grin. It's taught by the Hogwarts Defense Against Dark Arts professor chap named Hamilton. If it's taught by one of the Hogwarts professors, Harry began. Then who's teaching at Hogwarts? He comes here in his spare time, the man replied. The most interesting aspect of the classes is hearing about Hogwarts' prize duelist. Prize duelist? Harry asked dumbly. Girl named Lavender Brown, the man replied. Hamilton says that she has a fine mind for innovation. Really? Finest since Mr. Black, the man agreed. Sorry to interrupt, but this seemed like a good place to ask, one of the new students began. So exactly who is Mr. Black? I heard he was a 10,000-year-old ex-Dark Lord, one of the men whispered. One so terrible that our image of death was based on his deeds. I heard that he really was death, another added. I heard that he was just a guy on vacation, Harry said, one with terrible luck. The rest of the men laughed and one slapped Harry on the back. Good one, kid. The thought of Mr. Black being one of us, one of them laughed. Has the same odds as Mr. Black being Harry Potter. Who? A dark-looking woman asked above the laughter. Kid in England that blocked the killing curse as a babe, someone explained. Disappeared after the death of that Dark Lord they were having trouble with. Ah, the woman's eyes lit up in understanding. Thank you. No problem, the man agreed. Unnoticed by all, Harry slipped out of the crowd and continued his exploration of the massive fortress. I'm glad you had enough responsibility to come to this meeting, boys. Molly favored her twin sons with a benevolent look. And I'm sure you can guess what this is about. Nope, Fred replied. Can't think of a thing, George agreed. You going back to school, Molly explained calmly. It's time for you to give up that silly joke shop so you can go back to school and finish your exams and get proper careers in respectable professions. Sorry to disappoint you, Mum, but we're happy where we are, Fred finished. You can't expect to make a living on your pranks, Molly tried another tactic. Why don't you just give all that up? Think of your future, she pleaded. Goodbye, Mother, George said as he stood up. It has become obvious that this meeting was a waste of time, Fred agreed, as he rose to his feet. Both twins winced at the small item that fell out of Fred's pocket when he stood. Boys, Molly stared in shock at the badge that had dropped out of Fred's pocket. Well, Mum, who do you think gave us the seed money to start our business? Why didn't you tell us? Molly couldn't believe the twins kept something like this from the order. Because you never asked, George shrugged. Besides, it was a business matter. Had nothing to do with the order, Fred agreed. It was most certainly not a business matter. Molly couldn't rip her eyes away from the badge. Why didn't you tell us? Because the order is a private organization, Fred sighed. We helped out as much as you let us without revealing our cover. Which wasn't much. George shook his head. We didn't get much respect from the order. Or any tasks of note. Fred shook his head. We weren't sure about the loyalty of all the members. George began. Or that they could keep their mouths shut, Fred explained. And we didn't have permission to reveal ourselves. George finished with a shrug. You would have never known if Fred hadn't have been so clumsy. Suppose it doesn't matter so much, Fred said as he picked up the badge and put it in his pocket. though we would appreciate it if you didn't say anything about this. Neither of us is willing to try memory charms on our own mother. George frowned. No matter how big a risk she is to our covers, the lives you would risk by talking belong to us. Fred added. You brought them into the world, and I suppose that you're the best person to decide that they need to leave the world. So tell Dumbledore and the rest of the Order if you want. We don't care anymore. With that, the twins popped out, leaving their distraught mother behind. We could have handled that better, George admitted after they had returned to the privacy of their shop. She's under a lot of stress with Harry gone, Fred agreed. Maybe we should try contacting him again. We'd have to spend less time talking to the girls of Acme Inc., George cautioned. It'd take a while to convince Harry to come back even for a visit if he didn't want to. And I'm sure he'll come around on his own eventually, Fred added. No need for us to push him. It'd be the wrong thing to do anyway. George agreed. Best to let things resolve themselves. What was the time difference again? It'll be a few hours before they're awake enough to answer their flu without cursing us. Fred lamented. Don't see why they insist on sleeping a full 8 hours. You like to sleep 12 hours, George pointed out. And so do you, but not when we have something important to do, Fred rebutted. Excellent point, twin of mine, George agreed. What do you suggest we do in the meantime? We could work on our Animagi's transformations, Fred replied. The girls sounded excited when we told them about our forms. Though what's interesting about a rabbit and a duck, George trailed off. They're girls, Fred explained. Their brains are less evolved than ours are. I wouldn't suggest you tell them that, George said quickly. Or even think it around them. They have powers. Mysteriously mysterious powers, Fred agreed. They know what we're thinking. Quite a feat when we don't half the time, George added. So, enough gabbing, let's get down to it. Chief, 99 called out. The Dutch are on the flu and they wish to speak with you. Fine, the aged man grunted. Send them through. Dutch magical law enforcement to control. Come in, control, the woman in the flames called out. Must you all do that every time you call? The chief groaned. Must you? Yes, the woman replied. We must. Fine, the chief agreed in defeat. What can I do for you? It's what we can do for you, the woman said with a smile. I have a bit of information to share. Think of it as payment for cracking Black's riddle. What is it? The chief leaned forward. As you may have heard, Mr. Black recently authenticated a painting for us. Yes, the chief agreed. I thought it a bit odd that you'd ask Mr. Black to perform such a menial task, but we had our reasons, the woman said sharply. One of them was a desire to confirm that the painter had contact with the magical world. And he painted another portrait, the woman replied. One of incredible detail, his masterpiece. So, the chief asked, I'm still not seeing the point to this. The other portrait is also magical, the woman began. The subject is a man in black. The wards on the painting make it impossible to remember any details about the man's face. So you have a painting of Mr. Black, the chief said, with a shrug. So what? So it's got something sealed within it, something bad, the woman said. Possibly worse than the thing in Austria. I see. The chief slumped in his chair. Is there anything I can do to help keep this thing contained? The wards on the painting are foolproof, the woman replied. We're afraid that any action on our part would have a negative effect. So, what are you going to do with it? We're going to present it to Mr. Black, the woman said with a grin. He likes art and there's no one better to guard it. Are we there yet? Luna asked for the 300th time. Damn it, Luna, Hermione exploded. Are you trying to make me angry? Yes, I am, Luna agreed. And it would help if you'd just go ahead and lose your temper so I can get on to more productive activities. What? Hermione asked in shock. Why? You've been bottling everything up since Harry disappeared, Luna explained. It's not healthy, and since you refused my offer of a massage, I am not repressing my feelings, Hermione replied. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. No, I'm. Stop trying to make me angry. No. Yes? No. Yeah, arg. Hermione took several deep, calming breaths. Okay, how about this? We spend a day relaxing, then will you stop trying to make me angry? Maybe, Luna said with a grin. What did you have in mind? There's a spa near here, Hermione began lecturing. It is based around a hot spring that's been in use since Roman times. Okay, Luna interrupted, but if I think that you haven't relaxed enough then the deal's off. Fine, Hermione agreed. Let's go. Dumbledore's search for information had brought him to Germany to meet with an old friend. It was for the best, he told himself. Let Hermione and Luna talk to the people and let young Niang Tonks speak to law enforcement. He was going to take advantage of a lifetime of contacts and favors owed to speak with those in power. Albus, Ritter said with a smile. What brings you here? Business, Dumbledore said with a frown of regret. How's Hans? Doing well, Ritter replied. What can I do for you? I need to find Mr. Black, Dumbledore said bluntly. You don't find Mr. Black, Ritter replied. He finds you. Why do you need him? I believe that he's the only one that can help me find Harry Potter, Dumbledore explained, and I was hoping to find him to enlist his help. I see. Why is Harry Potter missing? It is all my fault, Dumbledore admitted. I put too much faith in a prophecy. I ruined the boy's life and excused it all as being necessary to serve the greater good. Why do you wish to find Harry Potter? Hans demanded. To apologize, Dumbledore replied. To beg him to at least see his friends if he does not wish to see me, to assure myself that he is all right and happy where he is. I see, Ritter said slowly. Here is what I know about Mr. Black. He is very old. He is very dangerous. He has a very odd sense of humor, and he hates blood purists very much. That's all? Dumbledore asked in shock. That's all, Ritter confirmed. If you wish, I'll let you go over the reports of the Black Massacre. Perhaps you'll be able to get some insight that eluded us. Thank you, Dumbledore said slowly. You have been a great help. What are friends for, Albus? So it's agreed. The shadowy man looked around the table. The only possible threat to our plan is from Mr. Black. Mr. Black has to die. Is that even possible? One of the other men asked. I heard that he couldn't be killed. Superstition. Another snorted. And even if he is an immortal, he can still be distracted. What do you propose to do? I propose that we provide a distraction, the shadowy man offered. We send a team to Black Island to cause a bit of trouble. Even if they are not able to cause any real damage, the damage to Black's reputation will be immense. He'll have to contend with that and he'll be busy fixing his wards, leaving the way free for us to strike. And how do you intend to get a team onto the island? No ship is unsinkable and no fortress is impossible to take, the shadowy man replied. The wards around his island are good, but they cannot be perfect. There is a spell that when added to a portkey will seek out any holes in the ward. You're sure? One of the men demanded. I've put months of research and mountains of money into the development of this charm. The shadowy man replied. It cannot fail. Remember those words, one of the others ordered. So what do you think this class will be about? One of the auras whispered to her companion. Who can say? The other aura whispered back. I've heard that this class is going to be taught by Black himself. So we're going to learn some deadly spell to use on our enemies? The first aura asked. Not likely, a man entered the conversation. Mr. Black is much too subtle for that. Who you? One of the auras asked with a frown. Secret Agent 86 of Control, Max replied. The last class Mr. Black taught was on how to make an omelette. Who can say what this one will be on? Hello everyone. Harry announced himself as he entered the room. Welcome to my class on arts and crafts. Arts and crafts, one of the auras whispered. Shush, Max whispered back. I'm going to be teaching you how to weave baskets underwater, Harry continued, unaware of the whispered comments. Now the first thing you'll need to learn how to do is breath underwater. Max stumbled out of the class with an odd look on his face. For once it had seemed that Mr. Black was teaching them something useful, without having to spend weeks in research to discover what it was. To be honest, it was making him a bit paranoid. This is Secret Agent 86 calling Control. Come in, Control. What is it, Max? The chief's voice asked. Mr. Black taught us how to breath underwater, Max replied. And how to weave a basket. I see, the chief replied. How hard is it to learn? To breath underwater? Max asked. Not hard at all. Would take me about 5 minutes to teach it. Come in, Max, the chief said suddenly. It's time for you to come home. But Chief Max protested. I'm learning so much. Good, the chief replied. Because I have an assignment for you, I'll give you the details when you come in. Yes, Chief. What happened? One of the men demanded. I thought you said your charm would work. My charm is flawless, the shadowy man sneered. The only explanation is that the team you gave me made a mistake. Or that Mr. Black's wards are perfect, another man added. What happened? Everything went well until the team reached the limits of Black's wards, the shadowy man explained. Then they stopped. What? They stopped, the shadowy man repeated. They stopped and the team dropped into the water and drowned. More likely they froze to death, another man spoke suddenly. As cold as the water is. We thought of that, the shadowy man spat. Each of them had warming charms to contend with the harsh conditions. That explains a few things, another man said with a grin. You'll never guess what Mr. Brack taught today. Get on with it, the shadowy man demanded. How to breathe underwater, the man said with a grin. He's toying with us, the shadowy man hissed. That or he only knows that someone tried something and is directing his taunt to his unknown foes. The man said with a shrug. The fact that we are still alive indicates the latter to me. I think that you're going to have to modify your plan a bit. What do you suggest? The shadowy man asked wearily. Just a few small modifications to your plan, the man said with a modest shrug. I say we watch the wards till they open and send in a team. Fine, the shadowy man agreed. I'd also like to propose that we change targets, the man said with a cold smile. Instead of random damage we target Black's friends. The death of even one of them would weaken him considerably. I like it, the shadowy man said with a grin. When your opponent is too strong you go around him to target one of his weaknesses, one of his family. I think it's time to move on, Harry said with a sigh. Not that it hasn't been fun. What are your plans? Hench Girl asked with a frown. Canada, Harry replied. I'm going to follow the advice of that shopkeeper and get a few lessons from that guy with the unpronounceable name. Then, Hench Girl prompted. Then I'm going to... Harry Potter is going to take his final exams, Harry continued. After that, I don't know. You don't have to go to Canada to take that course, Hench Girl said with a sad smile. We arranged for Mr. K to teach a few of them on the island. He's a wizard? Harry asked in surprise. I don't know, Hench Girl replied, but he did have a book of useful spells for the arboreal forest. Interesting guy. Thanks, Hench Girl, Harry said. Could you point me the way to his class? I'll do one better, Hench Girl spoke quickly. I'll take it with you. Oh? Never know when it might be useful to know how to survive in the Canadian forest. Hench Girl continued. Let's go. Okay, Harry agreed. It'll be fun. Well, Luna began. That was fun. It was certainly interesting, Hermione ventured. I know that I've certainly never seen a hot spring explode like that. That's what happens when you trap crumbats in a spring, Luna explained. They get all agitated and produce hot water. That doesn't, Hermione froze. She couldn't believe she was encouraging Luna to keep talking. Then they explode, Luna finished. Everyone knows that. So it wasn't a build-up of pressure coupled with old pipes, Hermione said with a smirk. That's just what they want you to think, Luna agreed. On the plus side, I got a lead on where Harry might be. Where? Hermione demanded. One of my father's contacts told me that there's an information merchant near here, Luna said. He might be able to tell us something. Let's go, Hermione all but screamed. There's just one problem, Luna whispered. What? Hermione hissed. Well, tell me. He might try to kill us, Luna admitted. Or Harry if he can find him. Father's contact thinks that he might be a dark wizard. We can take care of ourselves, Hermione snapped. Now come on. The sooner we get there, the sooner we can hurt Harry for worrying us like that. Okay, Luna agreed. The two girls wandered around town for several hours until Hermione couldn't take it anymore. When are we going to get there? When are we going to get where? Luna asked innocently. What? Hermione asked flatly. What? Luna replied. Where have we been going? Hermione spoke slowly as if to a child. I don't know, Luna blinked. I've been following you. Where are we going, Hermione? How should I know? Hermione said, forcing herself to calm. You're the one who knows where the information merchant is. That's right, Luna agreed. So where are we going? I don't know, Luna said. I thought we already established that. I meant where is the information merchant? Hermione said with false calm. Over by that group of auras, Luna said. Although I don't think they call them auras here. Do you know what they call them, Hermione? What group of auroras? Hermione looked around for several seconds before she placed them. Let's go. Okay, Luna agreed. Hermione marched up to the woman that seemed to be directing things, and looked her straight in the eye. Can I help you? The woman asked in accented English. I have business with the man on the ground, Hermione replied. What kind of business? The woman asked, eyes narrowing. I think he might be able to help me find a friend of mine, Hermione replied. When can I talk to him? Never, the woman said with a grin. Bastard died of a massive triple heart attack. A what? Hermione asked dumbly. You heard me, the woman replied. Now why don't you tell me who you are? I'm Ms. White, Luna spoke up. And she's Mrs. Pinkish Blue. Pinkish Blue, Hermione echoed. I think I've heard of you. The woman turned to Luna. You wouldn't happen to be a reporter for the Quibbler, would you? Yes, I am, Luna agreed. But I'm going to say I'm not. I'm undercover, don't you know? I see, the woman said slowly. So tell me, have you ever met Mr. Black? Oh yes, Luna said quickly. We both have. He taught us many interesting things. Like what? The woman demanded. Like how to give someone a triple heart attack, Luna replied. Isn't that how you said the information broker died? Yes, it is, the woman said thoughtfully. Glad Black finally got around to this one. What'd he do? Luna asked. He's been selling young witches, the woman replied. Selling young witches? Hermione re-entered the conversation. Brothels and spell components, the woman explained. Nasty bit of work. With him dead and the records we've found, I think we'll be able to end the trade. And if you don't, Luna said with a grin, I'm sure Mr. Black will kill them all. Thank you for your time. Yeah, Hermione agreed in a daze. Well, Luna remarked, as they walked off, it looks like we need to be more careful. Yeah, Hermione agreed numbly. More careful. Maybe we should wait till Tonks and Remus arrive before we do any more looking. Oh pish tosh applesauce, Luna snorted. We don't have to do that, but if it makes you feel better we could go to a safer location for a little while. Where? Hermione demanded. Holland, Luna replied. It is the place that Mr. Black first appeared. I guess, Hermione agreed slowly. Let's go. Yay, Luna cheered. Hey Harry, Henchgirl said in delight. Let me show you something. Make it quick, Harry said with a forced grin. I'm going to Canada later today, and I'd like to arrive while there's still a bit of light. Okay, Henchgirl agreed in a subdued tone. Remember when I mentioned that I wanted to make my own drink company? I think so, Harry said with a nod. Well, I did it, Henchgirl said proudly. A wave of her arm conjured several glass bottles with colorful labels. Take a look, take a drink and tell me what you think. Henchgirl's Yummy Citrus Soda, Harry read the first label. Henchgirl's Yummy Cola, Henchgirl's Yummy Orange Drink, Henchgirl's Yummy Potassium Flavored Soda. Harry said the last one with a raised eyebrow. That one's my favorite, Henchgirl said with a grin. Do any of these have a name that doesn't start with Henchgirl's Yummy? Harry asked with a smirk. That one, Henchgirl said, pointing to a black bottle with a skull and crossbones on the label. Mr. Black's Black Cola, Harry read aloud. Warning, if you drink this you will die a horrifically painful death. Really, we mean it. Only Mr. Black can drink this and not die. If you drink this, then it will take a few weeks to die in horrifically horrible agony. You can legally sell this. It comes with one of these. Henchgirl handed a smaller white bottle over. Henchgirl's Yummy Antidote, Harry read. When mixed with Mr. Black's Black Cola, it makes it taste yummy, and you won't die. Yup, Henchgirl agreed. Neat, huh? Right, Harry decided not to say what he was thinking. I'd better be off then. Talk to the professor before you go, Henchgirl commanded. He's got something he'd like to show you. Okay, Harry agreed. I'll go there now then. Good, Henchgirl said firmly. See you soon. Harry walked out of Henchgirl's laboratory and down the hall to the professor's workshop. Walking through the open door, Harry called out a greeting. Hey Professor, Henchgirl said she had something to show me. Yes, I do, the professor agreed. It is a new spell. Oh? What does it do? It's based on the same principles behind the Vanishing Cabinet, the professor explained, But instead of having 2 connecting cabinets, we will have 2 connecting closets. Or halls. Or explain, Harry commanded. Let us say that we wish to connect one of the tunnels beneath the keep to one of the Gringotts tunnels, the professor began. With this charm let's say that you wish to connect your closet to the closet of a little child so that you could jump out at night and scare the hell out of them. With this charm you could, let us say that, I get it, Harry interrupted. Sounds very useful. And I'd like you to test it, the professor said nervously. By connecting say a tunnel under your new cabin in Canada to a tunnel under the keep, it would have the added and unforeseen advantage of allowing you to visit easily. Henchgirl and the doctor forced you to do this, didn't they? Harry said with a grin. They most certainly did not, the professor replied. Be honest, Harry said with a grin. Henchgirl and the doctor threatened to do terrible things to me if I didn't invent something like this, the professor began with a barely concealed shudder. Terrible things. But they didn't force me to do anything, the professor finished. Pretty fine distinction, Harry replied. But I suppose that I can see it. How do you know there's going to be a tunnel under my cabin? Or am I expected to dig one? Old mine shafts, the professor explained. The area had a major gold rush almost 100 years ago. Your cabin and the mine shafts under it are remnants of the time. The architect has looked over both and declared them fit for goblin habitation. Thanks, Harry spoke slowly. Thank you. What are friends for? The professor said with a modest shrug. Take this button, it's a portkey that will drop you off in the nearest town. Goodbye, Harry said as the portkey dragged him off. Madame Bones. A breathless Aurora rushed into the woman's office. I have some troubling news. What is it? Bones demanded. This, the man said, thrusting a small piece of paper into her hands. First annual Death Eater meeting and reunion. The minister's eyes shot up in surprise. Come meet with your old friends, talk about old times, plot the evil plot, and drink a lot of whiskey. Is this a joke? I don't think so, the lackey said quickly. What should we do? Round up a group of auras, Bones said grimly. We're going to stop this before it begins. Right, the flunky agreed. Bones assembled her team and burst into the room holding the Death Eater meeting. It was easy to find what with the sign on the door. Amelia's eyes widened in horror as she realized just how badly outnumbered her team was. The Stripers here, one of the drunken Death Eaters pulled Amelia into his arms. She's a hot one, dressed as an aura too. Sexy, another Death Eater agreed. And she brought friends. Take off your clothes. You're all under arrest, Bones said nervously. Woohoo! One of the Death Eaters screamed enthusiastically. Arrest me, baby. I won't talk unless you play good cop. Along with her. She's hot as hell. Arrest me next, another Death Eater demanded. Settle down, what appeared to be the head Death Eater called. There will be plenty of time for that later. First let's all take off these stupid masks to show who we really are. Right on, another Death Eater said loudly. Can't wait to see how ugly you really are without that stupid disguise. My disguise isn't stupid, the head Death Eater said with a hurt tone of voice. Now you and Marks. Bones watched in horror as the masks came off. Half the crowd was composed of men and women that she knew to be unspeakables, hit wizards, and auras. So what you do, Gryffindor? Demanded. I managed to use my years of training to get out of there alive, Bones replied coldly. Now about that purge we need to conduct. I was thinking that the two of us should contact Black and ask for his help on this. Wonderful idea, the head unspeakable agreed. I'd just like to get one thing out of the way first. What's that? Bones tensed. This. Gryffindor tossed a large bag of coins on the table. The men said your dance was quite memorable. What? Bones stared at the bag of coins in shock. They want to book you for next year's reunion, the man said with undisguised glee. They promised to give me several photos showing your performance. Hurgle. They demanded I bring you this when they found out I knew you, the unspeakable said through bouts of laughter. They said you must have left it behind by mistake, even added a large tip. Mirth. You tried to raid a reunion of the spies that infiltrated the Dark Lord's forces, men and women who spent years undercover. I did what? Bones' eyes bugged out. And then you showed them your knockers. Gryffindor pulled out a photo and spent several seconds staring at it with admiration. Nice ones too. If you tell anyone I'll kill you, Bones whispered. They're still trying to figure out how you managed to get Madame Bones' hair for the polyjuice potion. Kill you slow, Bones hissed. So I guess the only thing left to say is, you busy this Friday? The portkey dropped Harry off in a small train station. Raising his eyebrows a bit at the steam locomotive, Harry walked to the ticket window and purchased a ticket to the nearest station from his cabin. May I ask you something before I get on the train? What is it? The man in the booth asked calmly. Why do you still use a steam locomotive? Harry asked. Why not switch like everyone else? Look around, the man said with a wave of his hand. Do you see acres and acres of diesel? No. Trees are cheap around here and they'll run the engine, the man explained, and a bit of magic will make it run clean. Right, Harry agreed with a forced smile. Sides, the man continued. It'd be a shame to junk it. Still works just fine. I'm sure it does, Harry said with a nod. Thank you for your time. Happy to help. So you've actually met Mr. Black? Hermione asked with a smile. I have, the customs agent agreed. Even saw his first name. What is it? Luna demanded. Was it Harland? Or maybe Fred? No, it started with a P, the man said absently. Patty. Prometheus. Think it was Prometheus. Thank you very much, Hermione said evenly, her face pale. No problem, the man said with a smile. Happy to be of service. Now what was the purpose of your visit again? We're looking for a friend, Luna replied, and Hermione wants to see the red light district. All right, the man stamped their passports. On you go then. Next. Hermione, Luna asked as they walked off. Is something the matter? Everything's fine, Luna, Hermione said automatically. Why would you think otherwise? Because you nodded dumbly when I suggested that you were going to visit the red light district, Luna replied, and I was wondering about your lack of reaction, or your plans to visit the district. If you're going, then why didn't you tell me about it? I'm sure that there are several places that we could go together. I've always wanted to go, you understand. But father always forbid me from going, and he's a much better jeweler than I am, so I haven't managed to stun him and go myself yet. Why? Hermione's eyes bugged. I'm not planning to go to the. It's about Mr. Black's first name. Pity, Luna said with a sigh. What was that about Mr. Black's first name? It's the name of the man that is said to have given several bits of technology to humanity, including fire, which he stole from the gods, Hermione lectured, though in some magical versions he steals magic and gives it to a chosen few. Pure blood tripe if you ask me. I see, Luna nodded. What do you think? I don't know, Hermione replied. If I remember right, the story states that as punishment, Prometheus was chained to a mountain where an eagle would try to eat his liver every day, and that he would heal every night. It conflicts with a lot of other things we've heard about Mr. Black, so I just don't know. Legends often contain different or conflicting versions of the same truth, Luna replied. Take the stories about the Fae stealing a child and replacing it with a changeling, Luna said with a huff. What about the stories? Hermione asked. What stories? Luna asked innocently. Are you feeling sick, Hermione? I'm feeling just fine, Luna, Hermione replied. Let's go get something to eat. Okay. Are you sure this is a good idea? Henchgirl asked. I don't like the idea of lowering the wards. It's only for a few minutes, the professor replied. And it really is something that needs to be done. I know, Henchgirl replied. We never expected so many people to be using the castle, and our septic system is being overloaded, the professor said quickly. So we have no choice but bring this new system online. Think of it, Henchgirl. It may be a small thing, but we could be doing a great service to humanity by building a better way to dispose of our waste. Henchgirl asked incredulously. No, Henchgirl, the professor said quickly. By ensuring that we won't be disturbed by any unpleasant smells. And how does that serve humanity? Henchgirl asked suspiciously. Because it will allow us to better focus on our inventions, the professor explained. Any one of which could someday save the planet. Even your steam-powered curling iron. Henchgirl asked sarcastically. Yes, the professor agreed. Even that. Oh, okay, Henchgirl said with a slow nod. When you put it like that, it makes me ashamed to wish to stand in your way. I know it does, Henchgirl, the professor said pompously, but you'll just have to hope that you manage to forgive yourself someday. I still don't like lowering the wards though, Hench Girl said sharply. Very well, the professor said wearily. The only place we really need to lower the wards is around the overflow tank. It will be difficult, but I suppose we could confine it to that spot. Good, Hench Girl said with a grin. Let's do it. Elsewhere, a strike team that had been waiting in readiness to strike Black Island go the signal to move. Conveniently enough, the signal was the activation of the port keys that they'd all been wearing. Where are we? One of the men in the team cast a quick charm to provide a bit of light. Looks like we're in some sort of stone room. A holding cell. The leader spat. We've fallen into another of Black's traps. What's that smell? Another asked nervously. It was at that moment that the overflow tank began to fill. On the plus side, every one of the men had managed to acquire through various means the ability to breathe underwater, and had the strength to keep it up for several days. On the minus side, every one of the men had managed to acquire through various means the ability to breathe underwater, and had the strength to keep it up for several days. Some things can be both bad and good, thought. If you were to ask them, most of the men in the strike force would put this firmly in the bad category. Are you sure this is a good idea, sir? Of course it is, Gryffindor agreed. And it's funny too. So what's the problem? The problem is that she'll kill us both, if she finds out who's responsible for this. The flunky replied nervously. She'll never figure out who did it. Gryffindor waved off his flunky's concerns. So stop worrying. If you say so, sir, the man agreed, reluctantly. Okay, I've put the flowers on her desk, now what? Now we sign the card, Mr. Black, and get the hell out of here before she kills us both, Gryffindor replied. Let's get moving. The two unspeakables carefully made their way back to the Department of Mysteries, and waited with bated breath until an outraged scream notified them that Bones had found their little gift. Excellent work, sir, the flunky said quickly. It was, wasn't it? Gryffindor said with a smile. Too bad you won't remember it. Sir? I may enjoy tormenting her, but Amelia is my friend, Gryffindor explained. Everything will be fine so long as no one suspects that it wasn't a polyjuiced stripper at that party. Oblivion. Well? One of the shadowed men demanded. We've managed to insert a team into Black's Island, one of the other men replied. What's their progress? What have they done? Do you have any information? The man demanded. They went in and disappeared. The man replied. We just know that their port keys must have sensed a break in the wards. We don't know anything else. This is troubling, one of the men said slowly. It means nothing, another spoke up. We were all aware that none of these men were likely to survive, so they died quicker than we'd thought they would. So what? But what if they were taken prisoner? They don't know anything, the man replied. Who cares if they talk? Let's move on. Thank you for seeing me, Albus said with a weak smile. I only wish that it were under better circumstances. As do I, Albus, the man at the other side of the table replied. I can only tell you a bit about Mr. Black, nothing I suspect that you haven't heard before. Anything would be helpful, Dumbledore said quickly. He spotted every tale we put on him, the man said slowly, pointed out every mistake we made and left when we annoyed him too much. What did you do? Dumbledore prompted. We tried to search his rooms, the man replied. Partially to see if he'd have noticed. I see. Dumbledore paused to organize his thoughts. Do you have any information on how I might be able to contact him? No, the man replied. I know that he's taught a few classes on that island of his. Other than that, the man shrugged. Thank you, Albus stood. And you promised that I will contact you or your deputy if I hear so much as a rumor about Harry Potter, the man interrupted. Calm yourself, Albus, he will be found. I hope so, Dumbledore said slowly, because if he isn't, then I shall never be able to forgive myself. It's been a few months since the last time I've been to Canada, and I decided to skip my normal commentary on places to go because I couldn't fit it into the story. Let's see, there is a steam clock in Victoria, BC, and a rebuilt wooden fort not far from Victoria. Don't believe the flight crew if they tell you that the ice cream is made out of moose milk at Gander Airport. It's not. They're telling the truth if they mention that the Queen has been there. There's even plaque commemorating the occasion. Guess it doesn't matter. Harry'll be spending most of his time in the middle of nowhere. Scratch that. All of his time in the middle of nowhere, so I guess it doesn't matter. The train is based on a real train I saw in Canada, though not one in active service. Or make, by Max 76, Black Island. Hench Girl was not having a good day. In fact, this was one of the worst days she's had in a long time. At first she thought that the presence of the Vila on the island would not be a problem. In fact, she found it quite amusing to watch the males on the island make fools of themselves. Well, almost all the males, the professor, seemed to be immune, but she couldn't really tell since he was so engrossed in his latest project. But after 5 ruined experiments and the second emergency trip to see the doctor of the day, Hench Girl was quickly reaching her limit. Having resorted to drastic measures, Hench Girl barricaded herself inside laboratory, wielding steel plates over the windows and pushing her largest cabinet against the door. There, Hench Girl muttered, satisfied at finally sealing herself off from the rest of the castle. No more interruptions from impatient Vila or any more accidents caused by drooling idiots who can't watch where they're going. There's no way anyone will be able to bother me now. After more than 2 hours of wonderful uninterrupted peace and quiet, Hench Girl was close to yet another brilliant breakthrough. Now all I have to do is very carefully add this last bit and boom, we found you, Mr. Black, the hopeful Vila yelled after using one of the professor's inventions to incinerate the door, as well as the cabinet and a good bit of the wall. No one, a voice cried from the center, a newly formed bright blue dust cloud. Mr. Black? Asked a now uncertain voice. No, I'm not Mr. Black, Hench Girl yelled. How many times do I have to tell you that he's not here, and why are you snickering like that? Well, you seem to be a little blue, one of the Vila managed to say, with a somewhat straight face as she looked for a mirror to hand to the irate potion mistress. What, of course I'm blue, you just made me ruin another. The resounding screech and yells could be heard through most of the castle, and many wondered if the human body was capable of such feats. The years of aura training lead say my first name at your own risk. Tonks to rush toward the source of the explosion. However, instead of finding an accident scene, Tonks was nearly run over by several, fleeing, followed closely behind by a very irate, very blue Hench Girl. Yep, it's never dull around here, but that would be a great color for me though. Fortunately for the Vila, they managed to evade Hench Girl long enough for them to ask a few gentlemen to help them out. Soon afterwards, the victims, men, learned never to get in the way of pissed off blue woman, one poor bastard who made Smurfette comment wouldn't wake up for another couple of weeks. Hench Girl now found herself a guest of the doctor again. We have got to find a way to get rid of those. Hey, no need to convince me. I've been so busy treating Vila charm-related injuries that I've barely been able to do any kind of research. Hell, less than an hour ago I had to stop one from going into the Nundu's chamber. At a slightly lower voice, in hindsight, I'm beginning to question that decision. It's strange. I heard about how Vila can cause disruptions, but I don't ever remember hearing about Vila being this bad before. That's because they aren't normally, since they are looking forward to finding Mr. Black so much their charm is on overdrive. Well, can't you give them something to stop it? Hench Girl whined. What do you think I've been trying to research? No one will leave me alone long enough to do it. The doctor sighed. At this point, I'm definitely willing to consider alternatives, but I can't think of anything else that would work short of them finding Mr. Black. At this, Hench Girl got a speculative look on her face. I know that look. What are you planning? Well, I do kinda have one idea, Hench Girl admitted. Don't just sit there. Tell me, the doctor demanded. I've had to deal with them just as much as you have. It's just that lately Mr. Black has seemed a little tense, and those Vila really seem to enjoy his company, and he's never said that he wouldn't want to see them again. Although we can't tell them where he is, technically it wouldn't be our fault if they somehow found him. At this, the doctor got hopeful but then quickly deflated. But how can they find him if we don't tell them anything? That's where the professor comes in, Hench Girl happily replied. He's holed up in his workshop working on a way to connect tunnels like vanishing cabinets. And when he figures out how, we convince him to set up another tunnel right to Mr. Black and accidentally let those menaces discover it. The doctor smirked. Now, The question is how to get him to set it up. Leave that to me, Henchgirl yelled back, as she ran out to find the professor. The doctor just sat down on the table, folded her hands in her lap, looked at her watch and waited for the door to open again. About 30 seconds later, a more subdued but still very blue henchgirl walked back in. About that antidote? Here you go, the doctor replied. I've also got a way to help with the professor, just tell me when you go to see him. Now back to normal. Henchgirl vacated the doctor's office just in time to see the doctor receive yet another more slightly injured idiot with a dazed expression that she was really beginning to get tired of. Walking into the professor's workshop with a more than slightly evil expression on her face that she quickly covered. Hey, Professor, have you finished with that Gregnot's project yet? Henchgirl asked as sweet as can be. Oh yes, we just finished setting the tunnel up a little while ago. Without any problems. Now I can… That's great, the plotting woman interrupted. Why don't you set up another tunnel for Mr. Black's cabin? The Zeppelin and portkeys work fine. Why would you set up something like that? The professor questioned. This wouldn't have anything to do with those Veela that are bugging everyone. Normally Henchgirl would take the time to outwit him, but she already had to deal with way too much today. Well, drastic times. She no longer bothered to hide that evil look that told the professor, you're going to do what I want right now or else, as now more than slightly frightened professor was backed into the wall. Henchgirl proceeded to convince him. You know you've had it easy so far. I wonder what would happen if those Veela found out that you knew exactly how they could find Mr. Black. Then the evil look got even worse. Or maybe that one of you inventions was the key to reaching him. The professor now wore a look of horror, but that you… Anything he could have said was interrupted by the doctor. Hello, Professor. I've been looking for you. Henchgirl reminded me how long it's been since you've been checked out. You're overdue for a complete physical. She then adopted a look similar to Henchgirl's. Unfortunately, after so many injuries being caused, lately I have to save my strength for healing more injuries. Means that this will have to be the non-magic version. The doctor finished with an evil grin, quickly realizing the many ways these two were going to make him suffer. The professor did what any self-respecting man would do when faced with two angry conspiring women. He gave in and pleaded for mercy. Okay, I'll set it up, just please don't hurt me. Great, we'll just leave you to it then. Henchgirl and the doctor walked out smiling. The professor could have sworn he heard one whisper, something like fun and too easy. Nobody was sure how Mr. Black managed to avoid the Veela on his next trip to the castle, but with Mr. Black you could never be sure. The doctor was just glad that he was able to avoid Henchgirls and the doctor's wrath by convincing Mr. Black let him set the tunnel to his cabin. I just hope that he doesn't get too mad at us for this, Professor stated to the two women. Henchgirl just smiled and said, what do you mean us? You're the one who set everything up and convinced him to set it up, not us. But, the professor sputtered. Evil women. Neither one of the women seemed all too put out at this remark. In fact, they seemed more smug than anything else. After a few moments, the professor seemed to realize something. Well, it's a good thing that he already knew that you put me up to it then. What? What? Harry was really enjoying his cabin in Canada. It was full of peace and quiet, and most importantly, no crazy adventures or odd occurrences. Now this is a vacation. Peace, quiet, this is the life. Nothing could mess this up, Harry said just before he turned in for the night. In retrospect, that was probably the wrong thing to say. Harry realized this when he woke up tied up and not being able to move, despite all of his enhanced strength. What the… was all Harry was able to say before he realized that her had company in the form of a group of familiar Veela. Hello, Harry, we've been looking for… oh,